Padaganur. I am going to handle the subject called IoT and Wireless Sensor Network, Internet of Things and WSN. The course code is 17EC752 and this is my detail. Now in this particular first we have to look at the prerequisites for the course. What are the basic fundamental you require in order to understand the concept of IoT and WSN? First thing you have to know the embedded system, especially Arduino basics, how it works, how actually hardware works, what are the interfacing kits are there and interfacing protocols are there, that we have to know. Then second very important thing is computer networking. In the computer networking you already studied in the sixth semester ISO OSI model and TCP IP model, both you studied in detail. Then you should know the protocol also, and sometimes you should know the communication protocol for so many things to understand. Then third important the prerequisite is language, computer language. Either you go for Python or C++. Fundamentally you should know in order to understand this IoT. Then last one is electronic circuit, because it is basically to design some prototype required for the IoT. So these are the some 4 points which are very much uh, important in order to understand the concept of IoT. Now moving to the course organization. In the course organization, we have 5 module, module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5. In the module 1, we have to study the overview of IoT M2M system, machine to machine system. Overview in the sense basic structure as well as the some examples, and we can go for even sources of IoT, technology behind IoT, all these things we have to study. Then in module 2, the basic architecture and design principle of IoT. Again, we have to look this design principle, especially for data collection and storage and computing using a cloud platform. Actually, IoT is nothing but which consists of so many sensors. So for the sensors, very important thing is the data collection. Then after collecting the data, it has to be processed. Then it has to be communicated. So this is what we are studying in the module 2. Then in module 3, we have to design prototyping and designing software for IoT application. This is what we are studying in the module 3. Then module 4 is basically wireless sensor network and its architecture. Then last one, module 5, communication protocol which best suit for WSN, that is wireless sensor network. I can say the first 3 module belongs to the IoT and its architecture and its design principle and its prototyping and designing. Then remaining the module, that is module 4 and module 5, it belongs to the WSN. So its architecture, its design principle and its communication protocol. We have the 5 model, and for each model we have the each course outcome. So at the end of the course, the students will able to understand the overview, design principle, OSI model and communication protocols for the IoT and M2M system. IoT is also called as a machine to machine system. Then CO2 is nothing but understanding the architecture and design principle of IoT along with the importance of data collection, storage and computing using the cloud platform. Then CO3, learn the prototyping and designing software for IoT applications. Then CO4, gain insight into the wireless sensor network and their architecture. Then CO5 is identify the communication protocol which best suit for the WSN. So these are the some outcomes after studying the entire course. We should look for course applications. Actually, these applications belongs to the IoT, so it can be used for smart homes, smart transportation, smart healthcare system, smart industries, smart farming, smart grids, smart waste management, smart supply chain. Now, very important thing is smart city. So smart in the sense it has to be calculated on its own. Okay, so that's why in these so many applications, the IoT should be used. Now, in this particular module, first we have to look for the module 1. In the module 1, as I said, it's a basic overview of IoT where we should planning for studying the architecture and design principle of IoT. Now, as I said, overview of Internet of Things I had to study. Then in that, again in module 1, we have to study the IoT conceptual framework, then IoT architectural view, then technology behind IoT, then sources of IoT. So let's see one over the one after the other. So let's start from the uh, basic overview of Internet of Things. So in the Internet, it's a definition. So we have to define in so many ways. So IoT can be defined, it's a concept which enables communication between internet networking devices and applications where physical objects or things communicate through the internet. As I said, internet of things. I should have internet. Without internet, we can't do anything. Then things. Things is nothing but the devices. So devices, nothing but the smart devices through which it can be communicated, right? So then second definition, we can say it is a network of physical things, objects for sending, receiving, or communicating information using internet. Okay, then one more definition for IoT, that is IoT is a vision where things are nothing but here, wearable watches, alarm clocks, home devices become a smart and function like living entities by sensing, computing, and communicating through the embedded devices. So basically, Internet of Thing is nothing but here devices. You should make the device, normal device into smart so that they can communicate. That's why the IoT name is also called as a M2M. M2M is nothing but machine to machine learning. This is how the things. Next, yes, one example I quote. So this is the Internet of IoT concept for street lights in a city. So street lights here in this example we have taken four groups. In each group we have four street lights. These street lights are controlled by means of intensity of the light or darkness of the light or the main traffic in that particular area, whether it is more traffic or less traffic, whether it is a cloudy region. So all these are controlled. Street light has to be controlled and send it to the controllers. Then controller will give this information to the internet. Through the internet it has to be controlled in the sense whether it has to be on or off. Oh, okay. If light is sufficient, if daylight is sufficient, if sunlight is sufficient, no need to on. So that's why it has to be controlled. If daylight is not sufficient, especially in the rainy season, especially in the winter season, okay, so sometimes in the evening, 5 o'clock, it's very dark. In that case, it has to be on automatically. So that's why just sensing the intensity of the light, it has to be on. This is the small example I'm quoting for this particular IoT. So IoT concept for street lights in a city. So this is how the things can be designed. This is a one example we can show. So after quoting this framework for IoT using smart and hyper connected devices. Okay, so here actually IoT can be grouped into three layers, then first layer and second layer and third layer. The first layer where we have the smart and hyper connected devices. Smart and hyper connected devices, nothing but the RFID, wireless sensor network, and other sources of analog and digital, audio, media, then video, media inputs, so many things. All these are smart and hyper connected devices. that should be connected to the edge computing units through the some protocol technology. Those are called Bluetooth, Zigbee, NFC. Okay, so between second and first, between second layer and first layer, we have the technology called Bluetooth and Zigbee. Then between the edge computing, that is layer 2 and layer 3, layer 3 is basically the application. Okay, so these two layers can be communicated through the now technology called 3G, third generation, then fourth generation, internet, Wi-Fi. So this is how the general framework for IoT using smart and hyper connected devices, edge computing and applications. So very, very important. Hyper smart and hyper connected devices are the bottom layer, middle layer is the edge computing units, and top layer is the application units or applications. So these are able to communicate through some technology between first and second, Bluetooth and Zigbee, between second and third through the 3G and 4G. So this is the basic. Now we look for very important is IoT conceptual framework. How exactly IoT? What are the different components are present in the IoT? How they can senses? Then after sensing, how they can, the process the data. Then after processing, how it can communicate it to the other devices through the internet. So this is the main, purpose of designing IoT. That's why I said IoT is nothing but it is machine to machine communication. So this is the basic or fundamental of IoT. So this is just a beginning. It's a fundamental or basics introduction class for IoT. So that's why you look how IoT uh, operate or how IoT can be designed. What are the basic things? I also uploaded the first module notes on your Google Classroom. Go through it, just understand. Then we'll just meet in the online classes. This is the basic. Okay. So thank you.